It's the Shatkin First Down Pregame Show, presented by Dr. Todd Shatkin and the Aesthetic Associate Center, with your hosts, Rich Gaenzler and Dr. Jared Shatkin, and our special guest, Buffalo Bills alum Eric Wood. Now, from the Shatkin Sports Network studios in Amherst, here are your hosts, Rich Gaenzler and Jared Shatkin.
Welcome to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Rich Gaenzler, Dr. Jared Shatkin. We'll have the Mafia here. Eric Wood's going to join us from the Bills broadcast. Of course, former Bills center and Pro Bowler going to join. We're going to talk about, obviously, the Steeler game and, of course, the Chief game coming up in Buffalo for a change. It's good to know and talk about. And God, we've been dying to get Patrick Mahomes here. I think it was the only time he was here was a COVID game, right?
Yeah.
No fans.
Yeah, I hardly remember seeing a Chiefs game where they're wearing white. You know,
right.
This is huge for us. I mean, listen, would I like to see maybe a lesser opponent? Yeah, but this is historic to have Patrick Mahomes come to Buffalo and hopefully lose that first playoff game in Buffalo, that first away game.
Yeah, how about that? We come in at one point in the season 6-6, and then we go into the playoffs a higher seed than the Chiefs. I mean, nobody thought back mid-season that was going to be happening. Anyway, lots more of that coming up in the last segment. Right now, though, we have to go around the water cooler. Okay, here we are. We're talking about the game behind us. Of course, the Bills and the Steelers, and the Bills coming out, game was closer than obviously the final score at the end, right?
Right.
But let's talk about some takeaways from the game. Obviously, some outstanding plays. I mean, Josh's run right out of the gate. When that happened, I said, how is this guy not the MVP? How are people not taking him seriously as the MVP with a run like that?
Yeah, that was an incredible run. He made a lot of great plays. And he just ran away from the entire Steelers team, basically. Everybody thinks he was trying to do a fake slide, but it looked to me more just like I'm confused. What do I do? Okay, it's open. Let's go. And that was an awesome run and probably the biggest run I've seen in Bills history.
And I was going to say his longest run ever. I think it was the second ever quarterback playoff run in the history of the NFL, which is pretty remarkable for a quarterback. But I felt like the Steelers were kind of shocked as well that he was still going, right? I think the Steelers, even on the field, felt like he was going to slide.
Yeah, maybe they did. Maybe because he slid earlier in the game, they got a little spooked out. I think even Josh thought he was going to slide for a second, and everyone's saying, oh, it's a fake slide, like it's a cheap play by him. I really think in his mind, he didn't know what he was going to do. He just stopped, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go. And he saw a hole and he saw an opening, and he broke a tackle and he went. And that's why you love him, because he's a spontaneous player. He doesn't listen to anybody else, because I know every single coach there wanted him to slide. But that play opened the game up and made it to a point where the Steelers couldn't come back anymore.
Yeah, and naturally that's what people are talking about. But what they haven't really talked about, in my opinion, is that he played a pretty clean game, right? I mean, no fumbles, no picks. I mean, he had one ball that was broken up by Rowe when he went deep to Diggs. Other than that, he played a clean game, which we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, and we've never lost when he's played a clean game.
Right.
And that's a good sign of improvement. I think he was a little less efficient in the second half passing, and he'll probably even say that. But overall, I think he played a phenomenal game. Yeah,
of course, the Shakir play was absolutely outstanding. And it's funny, you talked in the postgame about actually practicing what happened on that play, where in practice they literally will go down on one hand. They'll kind of like squat on one hand like he did on that play, regain your balance, and then move on. It came to fruition, and so much of that came from coaching in this game. You heard Kincaid talking about his touchdown, that was a play that they actually worked on in practice because they knew exactly what to look for with the Steeler defense and certainly in certain situations with those schemes. So there's two different separate occasions where the Bills were perfectly coached up in that game and for that game.
Yeah, and that Shakir touchdown it came at a huge moment when the momentum was shifting, and we got it back from. That was an incredible play. That contact balance, you can't coach that. You can coach some of it, like you said, but that guy, he runs like a running back, and he's an awesome player for us. He's a wide receiver too, in my opinion, right now.
Obviously, the other big takeaway from the game was the backups that had to come in and the injuries, which we'll talk more about when we get into the Kansas City game. But you saw a lot of guys go off. I mean, obviously Bernard, Taron Johnson, Dodson didn't play, but Benford went off, Spector went off. I mean, these are really significant guys. Even though a lot of them started off as backups, right now for the team, they are really significant players, especially in the back end. And going up against a team like Kansas City, those are guys that you've come to rely on and need. But In the Steeler game, other guys kind of picked up the slack for him.
Yeah, I thought Kyer Elam, after getting beat deep in that, or just getting beat playing in that first drive and making that interception, I think you need him to play with a lot of confidence coming in, and I think he showed that he started to play with a lot more confidence. He looked like a different player to me, and I'm excited to see what he has coming into this Kansas City week. He's had a couple good games already against Kansas City in his career. Every single game, you know, we've had injuries, and on the defense specifically, but coaching has stepped up and these backups have stepped up, and it's good that we have depth, because if we were a different team and guys like our defense have gone down already, we'd be in trouble. But I am pretty confident in the way Sean McDermott's coaching this defense that they can limit Kansas City somewhat.
All right, coming up next, Eric Wood, former Bill All-Pro center and now, of course, radio broadcaster, podcaster, author, all that's going to join us. Mafia and Bills Chiefs Highmark Stadium Sunday at 6:30. We'll talk that in the final segment as we continue on the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show.
Hi, I'm Dr. Todd Shatkin here with Hall of Fame running back Thurman Thomas.
My family and I have been coming to Dr. Shatkin's dental office for years. The office is beautiful and the staff is outstanding.
Thanks, Thurman. It's been an honor for me to take care of you and your family.
For a Hall of Fame smile, go where the pros go. Dr. Todd Shatkin at the Aesthetic Associates Center.
Call today for a free consultation, 839-1700.
I am so happy with my experience that I had at iSmile Spas today. Got my teeth professionally whitened. I have months of results in less than an hour. No pain, seriously, not even a sting. They're not sensitive. You leave with a kit to continue your whitening. Absolutely incredible. I'm so happy I ever did this. I can't stop smiling.
Western New York. Smile again with confidence. Call 43-SMILE today.
All right, with the Bills' former All-Pro center, Eric Wood, of course, radio, author, dad, traveler, wing eater, trying to think of all the other things you've been doing recently. But welcome back, bro. Good to see you, man.
Always a pleasure, brother.
Hey, man, tell me about – it's because, you know, I hear you on the radio all the time, and you were talking about this past weekend and how crazy it was with the weather. And you – I could not – the one thing that stood out from the interview I heard you do, I think it was the guys on GR, and you talked about having wings, and you know, you came up for the weekend with a buddy and like his son or something, and then you told them that you drove home after the game, like straight shot through, and I'm like, my God, how did you possibly do that? And not just be looking at the back of your eyelids, man.
Yeah, I will say this. And you know as much as I do from doing media, being on and being locked in for that amount of time, you know, you leave the game and you're still wired, but then eventually you're going to come down from it. And so a little bit of caffeine and having some companions for the ride was great. But, you know, ultimately with me spending an extra day up there, I was ready to get home. The week's already going to be condensed. The following day, I got One Bills Live. I got to record the Sean McDermott show. I got WGR. So the earlier I can get back, the better. And as I was thinking about it, after the game, going back to the hotel, falling asleep, and then driving back the next morning, I just figured I'd push through, and we made pretty good time coming home. And you don't hit any of the traffic in the big cities when you leave that late too. So we made it through. The Sunday night game provided some entertainment with the Bucks Eagles for a while, and then it's a couple podcasts and you're home.
So let's talk about Kansas City. Why are they not as dominant on the offensive side of the football as they have been?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's the playmakers on the outside, and you know, they lose Hill and they still piece it together last year, but they just don't have quite the downfield threat presence. Now, Rashee Rice, they drafted him in the second round this year in the draft. He's coming into form. He's kind of played better and better as this year goes on, and then he goes for over 150 last week against the Dolphins. And, you know, to me, when you look at Travis Kelce, I mean, and this is pure speculation, but he hurt his knee in the preseason, and, you know, he missed some time. And you know what? Especially when you're in your 30s, you're managing that throughout the year. And as the season went on, his production went down. I don't discount that he potentially was slowed down by that knee that got him in the preseason, and it affected him throughout this year. And I also say this: he lit the world on fire the first, maybe 6 or so games of the season, well, then everyone's putting all their attention on him, which should open it up for other guys. And then you have Kadarius Toney dropping balls and you have other guys just not making plays. Well, then you take away Kelsey and they just don't have a whole lot left. And so this is a Chiefs organization, which I give them some credit because their defense is excellent right now, one of the tops in the league. Well, they've invested a ton of draft capital thinking, okay, we have Mahomes on the offense side of the ball. He'll just make it right. He'll be the Tom Brady that you could put anybody out there with him and he'll make it right. And then we'll just invest a ton in the defense. So their defense is playing really well. Well, a lot of those guys that they put on the offensive side of the ball with Mahomes haven't made those plays.
So what do you make of this game in general now? And what concerns you the most about the Chiefs coming into this game on both sides of the ball?
My biggest thing coming into this game is, can this defense hold up and keep shutting teams down? I mean, in this 6-game win streak, I believe the Bills are averaging giving up 16.5 points per game. I mean, you hold this Kansas City team to 20 points or less, I have full confidence. I'll lock that in right now and say this offense, with playing at home against their defense, will be able to put up enough to get the win.
All right, finally, I know you're a country music guy. I've actually seen you sing some country music, and you're better than people might think. Are you a Swiftie?
No, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a Swiftie. And I almost wish the Bills would bring Luke Combs or somebody in for this one and someone adopt the Bills Mafia. We do have Benny the Butcher, though. We got
That's
Benny.
true.
And so we have our hip hop artists there. But, I'll say this, the Swiftie effect is real.
Okay. So please, before you go, plug everything you need to plug. You got plenty of time. Go right ahead. I know there's a laundry list.
Yeah, so we'll just plug one thing, the 7 Round Buffalo podcast. That's been really fun for me to work on. We're actually going to post the audio back on the 7 Round Buffalo podcast. So for those listening on that platform, thank you for tuning in.
We had Arthur Moats on last week, and if you haven't had him on, you know him well, you played with him, and you know his personality. Definitely get Don't Cross the Moats on your podcast because he's fantastic.
I actually had him on prior to the preseason game against the Steelers. So
perfect. Well, I mean, look, read your book. That's another thing, right?
Yeah.
that speaks to positive energy. I mean, you're a spokesperson for positive energy like he is. So
I appreciate that.
All right, man. Well, thank you again, and safe travel back up to Buffalo. We're getting a lot of winter again midweek here, and by game time, it should settle down, and both teams obviously are used to this kind of weather this time of year. So I can't say anyone's got necessarily a weather advantage, but it should be a great game. Thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime, brother.
Hi, this is Steve Christie. When the Bills needed a clutch kicker, they called me. When I needed a dentist to care for my family, I called the best, Dr. Todd Shatkin from the Aesthetic Associates Center. Dr. Shatkin and his team have provided us with the care that we need. Are you embarrassed to smile because of loose dentures or missing teeth? You can be you again with Shatkin Mini Dental Implants. Call Dr. Todd Shatkin today at 716-839-1700 or go to drtshatkin.com.
Are you hungry? Eat! Stabilize your loose dentures with Shatkin Mini Dental Implants.
Welcome back to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Time to go in the pocket. Patrick Mahomes, my man, you know everything about Patrick Mahomes. It seems like everybody knows everything about Patrick Mahomes, but this year has been different for Patrick Mahomes. Why? I know you have your own hypothesis.
Yeah, no, I think Eric Bieniemy maybe didn't get enough credit for what he did last few years as the chief offensive coordinator. Kelsey being banged up from before even the first game. He doesn't look like himself. Take it from me, I drafted him in fantasy in 3 of my leagues.
Me too.
1 year he stinks. But no, I mean, he's still somebody you got to worry about because they got so much chemistry together, but he doesn't have quite the same explosiveness as he used to. But I think besides Rashee Rice, I mean, if you can shut him down, I think we got a really good chance to be successful. I just hope we'll be all right with Bernard going down. It's a big loss.
I just see Mahomes so often this year almost being indecisive, almost just kind of sitting back, wondering, guys not getting open.
Yeah.
They're just not the same. They just don't have that explosiveness.
Yeah, well, the NFL's hard, buddy, and guess what? You're finally seeing that year, what, 5 or 6. So, yeah, he definitely doesn't seem the same this year. And now he has to come up here and not play in his element. So the spoiled guy, it's time for revenge.
Did you ever break a helmet?
No.
No.
I'm not on the field. Maybe out of anger. But.
All right, give me one of these before you throw the ball. Or don't. All right, welcome back to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. The Mafia and All-Star crew, of course, Jared, Sam, and the Bobs. We got Helwig, we got DeVita in the house. And guys, we got to ask you, and now Jared, you were at the game, but you weren't at the game like this guy was. So Bob, tell me about the experience getting to the game, getting into your seats. I mean, anybody that wasn't at the game was watching wherever they were on television or on social media and looking at all the pictures of the snowed-in seats, and barely any of them had been touched, and you obviously were in the stands. So tell me what it was like getting to the game, getting into the stadium, figuring out what and where your seat was and all of it.
Well, first of all, I think the governor did a great job picking Monday for the day of the game. It was a much better day weather-wise. There was no wind. It was about 15 degrees, piles and piles of snow on our seats. Everybody just cleared it off the best they could, pushed it under, pushed it down, pushed it on the person next to you. I was using the snow next to me as a refrigerator to keep my beer cold. So it worked out. So the seats are clear now. I think there were at least 65 to 68,000 people there.
What about your experience at the game?
It's the same as every other game. What's awesome was when they would make a great play, and then you had the dust of snow. It almost made it look like a movie. So it was pretty cool. And it was electric atmosphere. I think it was the right day for the game. Even though we do have one less day of rest, I think that's the best way we could have played is if Josh could have thrown the ball. So it was the right
for sure
thing to do.
For sure. Bob, your takeaway from the game, I mean, there were parts of the game, for me personally, where I was like, oh no, not again. It just got a little tight. It seemed like the offense stalled a little bit, and they enabled Pittsburgh to get back in the game. And what was your takeaway from it?
I think the injuries on defense were troubling. When you started seeing guys go down left and right, they played back, and they let Pittsburgh get back in the game. But we just needed that one drive at the end of the game to salt it away, and that came away. Shakir made a great play at the end of that. But that drive was Josh Allen, we're going down, we're going to win this game, I'm going to take you down. And that's what he did. He did that the whole game, but that last drive was to put it away. That's what you need.
Sam, you're our quarterback, so talk a little bit about Josh's run. And everyone that you talk to says as he was running, everyone's thinking, Brady's saying in the headset, get down, slide, slide, slide. And then everybody says, oh, no, keep going and score a touchdown, right? I mean, have you had an instance like that even in your career where you're like, I should probably go down, it's a first down, we're in a good space, instead something clicked where you're like, I got to keep going?
Not exactly. In the championship game, I did run the ball, got a first down. Instead of going out of bounds, I decided to try and put my shoulder down and got a stinger, and I couldn't feel anything in my right hand, and I told my coach, and he let me know I should go out of bounds next time very explicitly. So, but no, I think Josh even himself was thinking, oh, maybe I should slide here, maybe I shouldn't, because you could see that split second of hesitancy, and then he took off, and I'm glad he did because it was the second longest run in postseason history, I think they said.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about, the guys that, Bob, that were forced to play in this game. I think you mentioned it. I mean, just go down the list of guys. Klein comes off the couch, as they say, to play. The guy was supposed to go into this RV to Key West. Instead, he's playing a significant role in a playoff game for the Bills. And Elam comes in. Most people didn't even expect him to play. He plays, gets the pick after getting picked on a play earlier, and then almost makes an interception later. I mean, guys like this that just stepped in, Dorian Williams, Ty Johnson at the end of the game, salted that clock out with a couple of really significant runs. So talk about coaching and the depth of this team and how the coaching staff has really been able to get it out of these guys in the biggest games of the year.
Yeah, they got them prepared. They're all next man up. You hear that a lot. But Elam, that pick that he had, I hope that gives him confidence because he's going to have to play now. And we need to get some of these guys back who don't really know the severity of the injuries. And hopefully some of them come back. Klein, it's nice he could play the middle because it moved Williams over to weak side. So they were familiar with those positions. And Williams has been playing all year. on and off. So, the more experience he gets, the better he'll be. And, you don't want to jinx anything. This, things are falling our way in a certain way, and let's hope that continues. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, things are kind of going one way for the Bills in terms of injuries and the other way for Kansas City, Bob, in terms of injuries, where Kansas City appears to be getting healthier and healthier and healthier. I mean, they're going to miss Sky Moore. Tony did not play in the last game. So one thing I would say the Bills have to their advantage in this game is that Kansas City has lost a lot of their high-end speed from this game. Advantage Bills.
Absolutely. I've been watching Mahomes all year, and he has struggled with his receivers big time. He misses Hill. He doesn't have a go-to guy. His passes are all over the place. Again, I still can't believe Mahomes got named to the Pro Bowl, and Josh has, 16 rushing touchdowns. Mahomes has 0. Kansas City's got a really good defense, but I think we have the better all-around team, and I think payback is due. And I'm ready for this game, and I think McDermott's going to have him ready.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, remember the last time... No, forget it. We're not going to remember the last time they played in the playoffs because we think about it way too often. But yes, revenge is certainly in the minds and hearts of Bills fans as Kansas City now comes to Highmark on Sunday at 6:30. Let's get your predictions, and of course, we'll do ours at the very end of the show. Sam, first for you. What do you think?
28-24 Bills.
28-24 Bills.
27-17 Bills.
Okay.
31-30 Bills on a late bounce of some sort that goes our way.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. It has been an odd playoff. But it's been an odd playoff so far. Green Bay winning, Houston winning the way it did, Tampa Bay beating Philadelphia, Detroit barely beating the Rams in the Stafford Bowl. So weird, crazier things have happened. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Guys, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. All right, coming back next, the two of us break it down. The Bills and the Chiefs at Highmark. First road playoff game ever for Patrick Mahomes. We'll break it down after this in the Shatkin F.I.R.S.T Buffalo pregame show.
It means a lot to be able to work with my dad to continue this legacy that we have going on.
I had many implants. Once I got them, it was like the old me came back.
The changes you can make in such a short period of time in somebody's life, have somebody in the chair crying because they finally have a full set of teeth. And I think the only way to do it in that type of time period for that type of price is really the mini implant.
Mini dental implants can change your life too. Call us at 839-1700 for a free consultation.
My self-esteem wasn't where it should have been because I was really self-conscious about my teeth. When I walked into Shatkin Dental, I was instantly ready for the residency program. I knew that that is what I needed. I needed the discount, I needed the dentist that was gonna fix everything. My self-esteem is already getting much higher just from starting the procedures.
Call Shatkin Dental Health today at 43 Smile for quality dental care you can afford.
All right, welcome back to the Shatkin F.I.R.S.T Buffalo pregame show. Three, right? 3 left to the championship.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
It's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We still have Patrick Mahomes, the defending champs, coming to Buffalo. But finally, they're coming to Buffalo.
That's right.
In a meaningful game. The last time they were here was, I think, 2020 during a COVID year with no fans in the stands. So it's going to be fun for a team who now on the road has to play with an opposing crowd and one that is so exuberant like the Bills Mafia is.
Yeah, but the main question is Taylor Swift going to be in Buffalo, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about the game itself. Third playoff meeting in 4 years. Last time we know what happened. We don't want to talk about it, obviously. Yeah. Weather around 20 degrees. Both teams are familiar with this kind of weather. Obviously, Kansas City played in a much colder game than the Bills did. A spread around 2.5, which around a field goal. Bills favored at home. But let's talk a little bit about Kansas City. Interesting, their offense kind of is what it is. It's taken a step back. We've all known that all season long. Mahomes hasn't been himself. Kelsey hasn't been himself. But the flip side, which is odd for them and no one really expected, is that their defense has been so good.
Yeah, especially their cornerback. Snead there is playing unbelievable. He got Jones in the front playing well. And I thought they did find a little bit on offense with Rashee Rice last game and Kelsey, and they got in a little bit of a rhythm here. So it's going to be a tough task.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, Jones and Karlaftis, the two defensive linemen, have 10.5 sacks for themselves. They have 57 sacks on the season, right there with the Bills, right?
Yeah, no, usually these two teams play, and it's a roller coaster, and it's back and forth. And this last game, you saw that both of these teams' defenses have really stepped up. The one we won in the regular season, it was a close defensive battle. So I'm expecting something similar this week.
Yeah, Gay and Bolton are back. They're healthy for the Chiefs' defense. Snead has been back for a couple of weeks. Pacheco was dinged up. He's back. They're getting healthier. Well, seemingly the Bills feel like they're not.
Yeah.
But we do need guys to get healthy because of what Kansas City does bring potentially offensively on the back end. Yes, we talked earlier in the show about how the backups have really played to a whole different level and played to a level that we needed to play at. But my gosh, you lose guys like Bernard, you lose Terran. I mean, those two, very possibly their two best defenders in terms of the pass game. If you can't go with either of those two guys or at least one of those two guys, it could be problematic.
It definitely could, but I do trust kind of the Sean McDermott scheme versus this Chiefs team. He keeps everything in front of him, and I think that as long as our pass rush can get home, I think we have a decent shot to stop them defensively. And either way, you're not going to just kind of nullify their entire offense. They got the MVP of the league a couple times, Patrick Mahomes. You're going to expect some points, but luckily our offense is starting to get rolling too, and we're starting to get healthy as well.
Yeah, and I think to your point about McDermott's defense, they like to keep everything in front of them, and I don't see Kansas City with a burner that's going to beat them deep. They've lost all their speed predominantly because of injury. So.
Yeah, I think that's something that's been hurting Kansas City this year is they can dink and duck all the way down the field, but their red zone offense isn't the same. Kelsey doesn't have that explosiveness. There's issues that aren't just based on what the quarterback can do anymore. It's the fact that they didn't address wide receiver in the offseason, to be honest. And, you know, they are what they are. Even last weekend against the Dolphins, they dink and duck down the field. They scored points, but they scored mostly field goals. And against the Bills, field goals aren't going to work.
Yeah, for sure. All right, time for the score. What do you think?
I think we're going to win. I really am pretty confident in this game. I would never pick a loss, even if I thought we were going to lose at this point. But I think we're going to win 27-21.
I'm going to go Bills winning 26-23. And again, I think it's going to be another one of those, you know, you're going to watch it a million times over. It's going to be one of those epic games between Kansas City and Buffalo. It's just developed into this incredible rivalry, and I think it's going to be another good one. Sunday at 6:30 at Highmark. Hey, before we get out of here, thank you to Eric Wood. Thanks to the members of the Mafia. Thanks to our great crew, and thank you for watching. Additionally, thanks to Dr. Todd Shatkin, Aesthetic Associates, and Shatkin Dental Health. This has been the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Go Bills. Let's get to that AFC Championship. Thanks for watching.
In the Pocket is sponsored by Mini Dumpster Rental. Call 716-429-6362. This has been a production of the Shatkin Sports Network.